and welcome once again to Tom's Hit Parade. It's time once again for a new release reviews video, overdue as usual. You know, for some reason I have trouble thinking outside the box with this channel. I keep forgetting that I can set this darn camera up anytime and do a review and then, you know, later on post it, even do, you know, 2 or 3 of these one at a time, stitch them together and post it in a video. And that's what I should have done in this case while the albums were fresh in my mind. But again, I mean, these albums have been out for, in some cases, several weeks now. They're a little bit stale in my mind, so but I listened to them again, obviously, right before I did this. So now, the thing is, I never really intended for new release reviews to be a regular thing with this channel. And in some cases I don't know why, because one of the things that I always knew I was going to do with this channel was my favorite albums of the year thing at the end of the year. So it would probably make sense that I would talk about these albums earlier on as they came out. You would think anyway, you know. But, you know, I was just intending to have, you know, talk about the obscure corners of my pre-existing music collection and, you know, overlooked artists, forgotten albums, that kind of thing, you know. So in that respect, you're lucky you're getting as many new release reviews as you're getting on this channel, and this is probably going to be the last new release reviews video for a while, because I was looking at the new releases calendar the other day, and frankly I'm not seeing anything for the next 6 weeks that is really of any interest to me, at least not right now. I mean, that obviously could change. But I have been buying CDs, you know, recent and not so recent releases, as I kind of constantly do. I found a few good ones at a yard sale last weekend. So, you know, you'll probably see me periodically talking about not so new albums on this channel. So, but anyway, be that as it may, I'm getting off the subject. I've got 3 recent releases to talk to you today about. The first one is the sophomore album by Leon Bridges, Good Thing. Now, I've been a fan of the late great R&B singer Sam Cooke for probably 30 years now. And so, of course, when Leon Bridges' first album, Coming Home, was released, I mean, that really caught my ear. It was a fantastic homage, full of original songs, by the way, not Sam Cooke covers, but just very much in the style of Sam Cooke, that buttery 60s soul sound that I just loved. So when word started coming out of Leon Bridges' sophomore album release, and that it was going to take a more contemporary soul and R&B direction, I started getting a little worried. You know, I mean, that we have plenty of contemporary R&B and neo-soul artists out there. But then I quickly realized, well, what's Leon Bridges going to do? Ride Sam Cooke's coattails for his entire career? So, I mean, it made sense. And when I read further on that he was not completely abandoning the retro influences, I was feeling a little bit more comfortable. And so as the album release approached, I was more and more eagerly anticipating it, and I was not disappointed. I mean, the foundations of these songs are definitely, you know, contemporary R&B soul, but to my joy, he did not entirely abandon the retro soul influences. In fact, almost every one of these songs has some kind of a soul influence from basically every decade since the 60s. So it's just a great mix, and I don't think he could have done better for his sophomore album release, you know, to kind of ease himself into the contemporary, a more fully contemporary style. So, I mean, and this album has far more good songs on it than mediocre songs. I mean, my favorite on here is Beyond. It's just a gorgeous love song, a gorgeous ballad, probably the best ballad I've heard all year so far. And then the song right after that, Forgive You, is a great up-tempo thing. That's got kind of 70s and 80s influences maybe. I'm not going to really try to peg what decade influences each of these songs ties to, just because I'm not very well versed in the history of soul and R&B music, so I would definitely get them wrong. So forgive me on that. But yeah, I mean, Lions, Bad Bad News, which the album takes its title from in the lyrics. You Don't Know. I mean, they're as I said, far more good songs on here than so-so songs. But yeah, just a fantastic sophomore effort by Leon Bridges. I love this one. I'm going to score this 70 to 75, and that's being conservative, really. It's a great album. You should check that out if you like soul music and R&B. Now, my second album review of today is another sophomore album. It is Voice Notes by Charlie Puth. Now, this was probably my most eagerly anticipated album of the year. It was supposed to be released back in January, which kind of made it a little more painful because within 2 weeks of the album release, I realized I had to wait for another 4 months. But it was because Charlie said some of the songs weren't quite right, and whatever tinkering he did, I think it was worth the extra 4 months wait, because this is probably one of my favorite albums of the year. I mean, I still love Moon Taxi's album, but this might be a close second. Now, I honestly didn't think his first album, 9-Track Mind, was all that bad. I mean, it wasn't fantastic by any means, but it had some really good songs on it. I mean, yes, it was kind of rushed into production because Charlie just kind of accidentally became a recording artist. He never intended to be one, by the way. But thank goodness it was successful enough that he was able to release a sophomore album, and he had a lot more artistic control on this, and honestly, as I said, it was well worth the wait. Now, as I said before, I love distinctive singing voices, and Charlie's is one of those. He's got that little bit of a huskiness in his voice that it kind of identifies him right away. I first heard Attention when I was on my lunch break at work at a little sandwich shop, and it played on the radio, and I heard it and I thought, it sounds like Charlie Puth, and I Shazammed it, and I was totally right. So yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic first single. How Long, which was the second single, I love the kind of Michael Jackson vibe that one had. Is just excellent. And again, like Leon Bridges, there are far more really good songs on here than there are mediocre songs. The Way I Am is a great opener. It's just got that. I mean, each of these songs kind of has a uniqueness to it. The duets are really good. Done For Me is a great song. That fantastic, gorgeous a cappella song with Boyz II Men, If You Leave Me Now, that is just gorgeous. Despite the first bar bearing a resemblance to NSYNC's I Thought She Knew. Minor detail. Honestly, you can forgive him for that, because as great a song as it is. And the one song that a lot of other people didn't like, but I really, really enjoyed, is Change, the song with James Taylor. And I'm a bit of a James Taylor fan, so I'm kind of biased for that. And I was just absolutely delighted that James Taylor's voice has not lost one bit of its charm from the 70s. I mean, it was just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, yeah, the lyrics and the message are maybe a little bit cliche, but honestly, it's a great song. And Slow It Down is a good song. Patient. I mean, I'm naming practically every song on here. That's how good this album is. Now, as for Charlie as a person, I would probably like him, honestly, no matter what kind of music he put out. I mean, within reason. It's just when somebody has a distinct passion for music. I have read and watched and listened to several interviews with him, and he's just got this mind that is just absolutely, well, obsessed in a good way with music. I mean, the nuts and bolts of it, how melodies and harmonies and beats work off of each other, and the influences that are drawn into each thing. I mean, just go look for interviews with Charlie Puth and you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, he's just got this mind that's like a sponge. I mean, he's been around music since he was a little kid. But yeah, I mean, I would just love to just sit there and talk with Charlie for what would probably end up being several hours about music. Just, so that about him kind of draws me to him as an artist, just to know that somebody has a genuine passion for music, whether it actually does make the person's music better or I just think it does, regardless. I like Charlie Puth, so yeah, that was a fantastic album, and 90 at least I would score this. Yeah, definitely one of my favorite albums of the year, as I said. Just a fantastic sophomore effort. I'm already cannot wait to see what he comes up with for his third album. Now, the third and final album I'll be reviewing today is the self-titled third album by Shawn Mendes. Now, I had my expectations a little high for this album, probably a little too high based on the two singles, In My Blood, which was a fantastic power ballad, I loved that one, and also Youth, which featuring Khalid, which was a great, I love the social message in that song and the lyrics. So yeah, I was really expecting something great from this album, and it is a good album, but I was a little disappointed because one of the things I've liked about Shawn Mendes up until now is because he kind of set himself apart from the other young male solo artists out there, because he didn't have so much of an R&B sound to him as he had, a guitar, kind of a pop rock sound. And this album is missing a lot of guitar. There's not nearly as much guitar on this album as there was on his previous two albums. Yeah, there's a lot more R&B on this one. So yeah, that kind of disappointed me. But there's still plenty of good songs on here. Nervous, I really like that one. It's got kind of an upbeat, jumpy song, which it actually kind of reminds me a little bit of The Way I Am, the opener from Charlie Puth's album. And also Mutual, which is probably my favorite song on this album. I really love that one. It's got that kind of a reverby sampled drum beat in the chorus, which is just great. Particular Taste it's a pretty good song, but that and a few of the other songs is where I kind of run into a problem. Another YouTuber pointed this out, and I didn't pick up on it until he pointed it out. That Shawn Mendes in this album on several songs bears a vocal resemblance to Justin Timberlake. And that's one of the songs, Particular Taste, in which he very much does sound like Justin Timberlake, after hearing that and then re-listening to the album. He's totally right. And, well, honestly, we've already had a Justin Timberlake album this year. But yet, that's the one thing that's kind of brings this album down a little bit for me. I mean, I like it. I still give it a 65 to 70. Yeah, I miss the guitar, honestly. I'm kind of hoping he backpedals from the R&B on his next album and goes back more toward the pop rock stuff. And it kind of feels like he's following a trend, with Nick Jonas and Charlie Puth, although in my mind he doesn't really even compare to Charlie Puth. But yeah, a good but not great album from Shawn Mendes. So yeah, those are my 3 new album reviews for today. What did you think of any of these albums? I've seen more reviews online of Charlie Puth and Shawn Mendes than I have of Leon Bridges. So what did you think of Leon Bridges' album? Give it a listen if you haven't yet. I think it's really good. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. I'm pointing to the right side of the screen now. Took me long enough, right? And again, thanks so much for watching. And remember, life's too short to be a music snob.